kind of poise, that strength. It's coming from inside your soul.
It's just magical to watch. I loved it.
That is what you call setting the stage on fire.
World of Dance returns May 29th on NBC. The wild, full of life, adventure, and celebrities who should have read the fine print.
That's rabbit poo.
Oh, it's just what I wanted.
Danger! Yeah! Oh my God.
Bear's a maniac. I should have killed him in his sleep last night.
Running Wild with Bear Grylls premieres May 7th on NBC.
This is a show about humanity, humility, where dreams come true. And I feel like history is about to be made.
This is your time, and I want to help you get there.
What just happened?
You are amazing.
This is the absolute definition of America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent returns May 29th on NBC.
Join KUAM News for the broadcast of the One Guam gubernatorial debate on Wednesday, May 9th at 6:30 p.m. on KUAM TV8 and streaming on our social media platforms. This gubernatorial debate, organized by the University of Guam Regional Center for Public Policy, focusing on Guam's quest for self-determination, will feature all of Guam's candidates for governor. Watch it in its entirety on your best source for Decision 2018 news and information, KUAM News. See the KUAM News app or KUAM.com for additional showtimes.
Decision 2018 coverage is presented by IT&E. Explore your world.
More to choose from.
I've heeded the call of about thousands of people.
We need to really focus on the economy.
It's going to boil down to efficient and effective government.
Today is just the start of our journey.
We believe in embracing everyone and everyone's voice.
But only one that delivers results.
If you are watching us on Facebook right now,
we have 3 of your candidates running for senator live in studio to take your questions.
Beyond the polls, beyond the politics, beyond broadcast. KUAM News. Results you can count on.
There's a common thread I see every time I'm in the field.
While this was burning, you were saving other homes.
Neighbors helping neighbors and strangers alike.
This is what America's about.
Sometimes it's nice to see all the good that's out there.
Bringing folks out, we have seen it in community after community.
KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson Navigation, serving Guam and Micronesia for 20 years. The all-new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dededo. Always open, always local.
Ahead on Primetime, police investigate the latest deadly traffic crash to hit Guam's roadways. Plus, the man accused in an armed robbery and rape at a beach in Ipan appears in court. And more scandal surfacing from the former communications director of Adelie 1 week after he spoke out about his drug arrest.
Hafadang, good evening. We begin with more on that serious crash up north that claimed another life. A man had been walking across Route 16 in Harmon Saturday when he was hit by a car. No arrests have been made at this time as Highway Patrol investigates the chief medical examiner performing the autopsy. But police are now looking to the community to help identify that man. Keani Mendiola has the story.
It's the 7th traffic fatality of the year and the 6th incident involving a pedestrian. Police say a man was crossing the stretch of road in Harmon Saturday night, starting from the north sidewalk by Iglesia Ni Cristo Church. That's when he was hit by a silver Toyota RAV4 traveling south. The victim then rushed to the Guam Regional Medical City where he later died. GPD spokesperson Officer Paul Tapao.
Over the weekend we had another auto pet crash on Route 16 and it's unfortunate that we're starting to see more crashes happening with our pedestrians.
Especially since 3 of the recent traffic-related deaths occurred just weeks apart and in the same village. It was in this very spot that a pedestrian was struck by a vehicle as he was attempting to cross the street Saturday evening, an area that, as you can see, is just a few feet away from a crosswalk. Escondido Mayor Melissa Savares.
In the last month, since April 1st, we've actually had 3 fatalities. And that's 3 more than we actually need.
But what's the cause of it all, and what can be done to prevent another tragedy on our roadways?
We use the 4E approach, and that comprises of one is engineering. Are the roadways properly marked? Is there sufficient crosswalks where pedestrians can actually use? The second one is education. How do we educate the community in proper safe driving, being more attentive, and of course to the pedestrians, how to be cautious? The third is enforcement. Are we doing enough enforcement to help not only to enforce traffic violators, but to also educate them about their infractions and what they're doing? And lastly, of course, is what they attribute to EMS.
Tapao saying each case varies, ranging from things like speeding, being under the influence for both drivers and pedestrians, and many others.
We as drivers, we as pedestrians need to be mindful of the rules of the road.
Be cautious when driving on the roadways, to be attentive when they're out there, and of course to respect and adhere to all rules and regulations pertaining to driving and of course the roadways.
Tips that could ultimately prevent another traffic fatality. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Kiani Mendiola.
Well, heading south, Crystal Paco takes us to God's country, where a recent rape and robbery at the public beach puts residents on high alert. A 30-year-old Talifofo man was also recently arrested and charged in connection to the case, thanks to the community's help. Here's more.
This area is safe.
Talifofo Mayor Vicente Tairagui is talking about Ipan Beach Park. On Monday afternoon, families gathered at the pavilions. A fisherman could be seen in the water, and another beachgoer relaxed on the sand under a tree. The mayor recalls seeing the 2 female victims last week. Hours prior, he and GPA crews were on site working on power lines.
And the girls sitting right here, facing the ocean.
Later that same day, the girls were approached by a man wielding a knife. That man forced them to face down before he raped one of the females and robbed them of their car keys. The stolen car was traced back to 30-year-old Benjamin Jesse Pablo, a longtime Talifofo resident and a known troublemaker in the village.
Just too bad. And, because of drug problem, it just went out of control. Talifofo is not immune for drugs. Yes, we have problems in Talifofo. We got drug problems in Talifofo.
Court documents state the stolen car was spotted in the village with fake plates. When officers attempted a traffic stop, the driver sped off and a chase ensued. The chase ended when Pablo reversed into the cop car. Shots were fired and he reportedly fled on foot into the nearby jungle area, where he was eventually caught. When interviewed by police, Pablo denied the allegations, but admitted to being homeless and living in a structure near the beach. When asked about the stolen car, he told police he traded 2 plates of the drug ice in return for the vehicle on Thursday. According to the mayor, it was the village's neighborhood watch program that helped police make the arrest.
This is mercy for the to the neighborhood watch patrol program for the involvement in capturing this young man. They are the one that called out the tips to the police department.
Since last week's incident, the mayor reports having his staff patrol the beach more frequently, since there are no lifeguards or park rangers assigned there. Safety is a major concern for Talifofo residents, especially since their police koban was shut down after only months of operation.
Police koban, we had a big ceremony, very good. It was blessed by the Father Felix, and due to lack of personnel, it was shut down about 12 months ago. So hopefully they could come back and reconsider and open up again the koban.
Pablo will appear in court on Tuesday afternoon. The mayor, true to God's country, extending his prayers to both Pablo and the victims.
Let's all pray for them again for recovery.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Crystal Paco.
Pablo's rap sheet shows he had several run-ins with the law for charges including rioting, assault, public drunkenness, burglary, robbery, and terrorizing. Well, the second man comes forward accusing Father Adrian Cristobal of molestation and rape, only identified by his initials to protect his privacy. 33-year-old JCC reports the abuse started in '95 and ended in 2013, occurring almost daily. The alleged abuse occurred at San Vicente Catholic Church School, both the Barragata and Maina parishes at Father Adrian's residence, his car, and his private beach at Ipan. It started when the priest groped the boy after teaching him how to properly tuck in his shirt. Other occasions occurred under the table during meal times, the priest reportedly using his feet to touch the boy's private parts. In another instance, JCC reports the priest would watch porn on his laptop and masturbate with the boy in the room and forced him to perform sexual acts. JCC eventually turned to drugs to cope with the abuse, and the priest used that to lure him to perform sexual acts in exchange for money. KUAM files show Father Adrian was called back to Guam upon news of the first allegation against him. He was sent to the Diocese of Phoenix to study canon law, nor yet on his return. Staff at a local elementary school learned one of their students had been sexually molested for several years. Now a 39-year-old man is placed under arrest. Richard Sylvester Ketty is charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Court documents state the 10-year-old victim alleged the abuse had been occurring since she was only 6. The suspect is accused of sexually abusing her multiple times a week. Each time she alleges the suspect was drunk. A mother stands accused of punching, then stomping her 9-year-old child's leg. A complaint states an elementary school employee noticed the injured child as he was limping while getting off the school bus Friday morning. Karina Lynn Cruz Barnes is charged with child abuse and family violence. The victim telling police his mother told him to get a bag of rice from their neighbor. It was then when he returned, she allegedly punched his face, then kicking him to the ground before stomping on his leg multiple times. The mother admitting to pushing the child to the ground, then slapping his face, but claimed his leg injury was an accident. Allegations of cover-ups from the top more is now surfacing from former communications director of the Calvo Tenorio administration. Chris Barnett has more as he sits down with Troy Torres, who now opens up about his illicit drug use while at Adelup.
And the hits keep coming. Former Adelup Communications Director Troy Torres firing off letters to the legislature, alleging he helped cover up the sexual harassment of a former Adelup staffer, allegedly committed by newly appointed Customs and Quarantine Director Eric Palacios. First, Customs officers saying Palacios tried to bring in forbidden items after returning from a trip to the Philippines. Butterfly knives. Now it turns out the first cut may not have been the deepest. Former Adelup staffer Geraldine Castillo reluctantly telling KUAM News her side of the story after media reports revisited the 2011 allegations her superior, former Adelup staffer Natalie Canata, made against Palacios on her behalf.
He would offer a hug. He offered massages. I dismissed it because, I could push away impliedly flirtatious comments. It's not a big deal to me. Everyone does it.
Castillo saying she brushed off inappropriate messages from Palacios, who was the director of the Guam State Clearinghouse at that time. But her superior raised the issue to Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio's former chief of staff, Dong Cho. Castillo says now Palacios' messages to her were highly inappropriate, but she said she felt like she didn't want to make a big deal out of it at the time. Castillo said she was then called into a meeting with Cho and Palacios, and they turned the tables on her.
Instead, I'm the one being punished, and so Eric just thought that it was just my agenda to do something against him.
The kicker, Castillo said she's aware of other women in the administration who have weathered unwanted advances made by Palacios, eerily echoing the Me Too movement. A man in a position of power over women allegedly abusing his authority.
These are just experiences with Eric that women shared to me about him. These were said in confidence, so I can't share who they are. It just validates where I come from, that I was one of them.
At the time this story broke, former Adelup Communications Director Troy Torres said the allegations of sexual harassment made against Palacios were, quote, sour grapes. But today, Torres tells KUAM News he was being Adelup's spin doctor when he gave comments to the media.
What I did was wrong. And in 2012, I think 2012 was when the story came out, I was just hell-bent on defending the administration.
Castillo saying Palacios even went as far as threatening her with litigation.
He said, I could sue you for defamation of character. He never sued me.
Castillo would eventually be terminated for disclosing an internal memo. And she says Palacios was one of the people pushing for Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio's staff members to fire her.
Eric, who has no connection to my employment, has no authority over me, is telling Notch, you need to get rid of Jerry. I mean, not in those exact words, but clearly he was conveying to Notch and to Dong to get rid of me.
Torres also telling KUAM News in an exclusive interview he was abusing drugs during his time at Adelup, and it was no secret.
Ecstasy and methamphetamine.
And were you the only staffer that was using those drugs?
No.
Did the administration know you were doing drugs when you worked at Adelup?
Yeah. I've done drugs with the lieutenant governor candidate, a certain lieutenant governor candidate, just years ago.
So did the administration know that you were struggling
Yes.
with drugs at the time you were employed there?
Yeah.
Torres saying he's now clean and adds he would be willing to take a drug test to prove it.
Yeah, I'll do that. As long as it's not by the government of Guam, I mean, yeah.
For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
Well, stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming with KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
Half a day, welcome to Two Lovers Point.
Half the day, I'm in the club.
In this divided world, there are still things that unite us. Great music, thrilling games, and the love for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam, for the love of burgers menu. For a limited time, get an amazing burger for just $11.99. Lunchtime at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
We're celebrating our 135th anniversary today, both in the outlying regions on which we hub and also here in Guam itself. It means so much to our team here in Guam. It means a lot to us in the Matson management team.
That's why we have such a great team and such a great service and why we're successful. This is our home, this is our life, and we're happy to make a difference in everyone else's life.
Here's to 60 years of Pizza Hut, to original pan, to stuffed crust, and to the best of both. The new double cheesy crust pan pizza with stuffed crust cheese baked just inside the golden edge of original pan. Here for a limited time. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
More ways to experience Guam via